Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Tara, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel, Spirit Mother Teachings of Going Within. Today, I chose the topic. Well, it's actually the question of why is this not maximizing? Okay. The question of, do you hear yourself when you talk? Okay. Before I get started, I'm going to go to my trusty little cards, because I like to read them all the time. And I'd like to welcome you all back. They say no such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities. It says an artificial intelligence is enough to make one believe in God. Okay. I had somebody tell me today that they watched something, and it was more along the satanic lines of somebody that wrote a book or wrote some stuff about it and what have you. And when they were dying, they were more of, oh God, what did I do? So it's okay. I mean, we do a lot of this going online stuff. Some of us have our head stuck in a computer or a phone or like just electronic devices. And I was actually thinking about that today because it was today, but it was from an experience I had yesterday. And it's the old question of like, do we hear ourselves when we talk? And the thing is that a lot of the time we don't. And I say that we don't because if we did, we wouldn't be saying one thing and then contradicting ourselves at the next moment, because our brain kind of, and it's like we wake up and then we go back to sleep. Okay. A lot of it, we say about technology, how it's bad, or we say about how certain foods are bad and what have you. And then we'll go and we'll eat it. I do it. Like, I know that certain foods are bad and I like not healthy for you and what have you. And I do it. I'm no exception. I still have those habits that I need to get out of. That's why I do a lot of my videos. And when I do my videos, I say that I go back and I watch a lot of my videos. Reason being, because I can always put stuff out there. And then it's like not remembering what you said. So it's the contradictory of yourself. People say about how medications are not actually good for the body, but yet you keep taking them. It's like, why? Okay, we're saying that it's not good for the body. It's like a quick video that I did. Woody Harrelson or whatever his name is, on the movie White Man Can't Jump and different other movies. When he says it in there, it's the part of we keep saying about all this stuff, but we need to be asking ourselves, if we know this and we keep saying about it, why do we keep buying it? Because when we do that, we're only feeding a system. We're only keeping that system going. Whereas if you stopped, then that system, it would start to deteriorate. Okay. Yesterday I was somewheres, and this here's the part of like with the artificial intelligence or what have you. See, I know when different energies come in. I know when the matrix approaches, and they'll use other people to approach you. Yesterday, there was stuff going down, and it was kind of a conflict. And I was going away from the conflict, but it kept, like, it was kind of a thing of telling someone basically, like, do you not hear yourself? Like, this is what you're saying. But yet you're going back on what you say. And the strange thing was, because the conflict got intense, and then all of a sudden the person didn't want to talk to me. It was more of, well, you're not letting me talk, or like, I only want to hear my side of what I have to say, but I don't want to hear what you have to say. It's only my opinion is what matters. And by golly, you need to listen to what I have to say, but I don't need to listen to you, which is, wait a minute. Why do I have to listen to you, what you have to say? But you don't want to sit and listen to what I have to say. So that was more of it. And I get the wrath because I get to a point where, you're being a real peckerhead. And if I'm not allowed to say peckerhead, well, that's too bad. I'm saying peckerhead. Okay? It's when we got going, like, it's a lot. And I was sitting somewhere, and I was sitting with it, because I know that sometimes it's a reflection. I was reflecting to that person what they feel, but I'm the BITCH. I can be sometimes, and I can give things to somebody really tough and sometimes really aggressive, because it's like the same person said, sometimes you need to talk their talk. So if this is the only way that the talk can actually get through to them, by speaking their language, then I guess that's what I go to. And it's not stooping to someone else's level. It's what they're saying. So we got into this, and what ended up happening, I was sitting somewhere, and everything was going fine, and what have you. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, you can feel when something's coming around, and it's like a closing in, and your heart starts beating a little faster. It becomes more of an anxious type thing. So it became, I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, like, everyone left, and then all of a sudden vehicles started coming in. And it was, shit, I gotta take those off. It was really strange, okay, because I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden a car parked behind me, and then one come back and kind of parked beside me, and then one in front of me. And I was getting this feeling. So I was like, okay, something's not right here. I'm feeling something, feeling a little uneasy and what have you. And I could feel it in my body. And I went to start my car. And it's a push start. And my car wouldn't start. And I was sitting there and like, okay, maybe I don't have my foot on the brake, even though I had my foot on the brake. I was trying to start it. And it was like more closing in and closing in. And it was like, okay, something's up. And I started kind of looking around and realizing, okay, it's like you're surrounded. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, the car's not starting. And I tried again. I tried about 4 or 5 times. Okay. So then I thought, okay, I was looking around, like, did I have anything on? No. Like, thinking, okay, did the battery run out of juice or what have you? But I knew something wasn't right. So I picked up my cell phone. And when I went to start to call someone, at the same time I started trying to call someone, I pressed the button to start the car, and the car took off like that. The day before that, I was at a farmer's market type thing, and I was in line, and I was up to pay for my stuff, and I was using my bank card. And when I go to put my PIN number in, it wouldn't do anything. It was like it was freezing. So they tried that a few times. We even shut the machine down to reboot it. And I'm like, and I'm looking around and I see this man. And people may think that it's not possible, but people can actually manipulate electronics through the mind or what have you. Okay? And I was getting it from this man, and I'm looking, and he's like real smug standing there. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know what you're doing. And I looked I'm like, and I looked at everyone, yep, the Matrix is messing with me. So we tried a couple more times, and it wasn't going. So I said, okay, like, I'll be back. Because they were going to try the one next to me, because they said that they were paying debit. So they paid, and their debit card went through no problem. Mine wouldn't tap. It wouldn't let me put anything in and what have you. And I ended up using my cash, because before that they said, well, maybe there's something wrong with your bank card. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with my bank card, because before I came there, I had stopped at the gas station and used it, and it worked fine. So I knew what was happening. And I was like, yeah, like, really? So when somebody says, like, when you're telling something about a strange experience you had, and then you kind of try to brush it off as something else. No, it's not something else. It's something that's happening. There's no such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities. So when we talk about our electronics, and like our parents used to say, will you stop sitting so close to the TV? It'll make you go blind, or it'll melt your brain, or like, get outside and play. Stop watching so much TV. Well, that's what we become attached to. A lot of us, we become attached to a machine, opposed to nature, opposed to our own imaginations. We look for somebody else's imagination when we actually have our own imagination. And when we say that, and then we go around when somebody else says it, and then we contradict ourselves, and then you kind of argue with them and say, no, that's not real. Well, you just said it was. So it's like, do you hear what you say? When, like, I know I was told today that somebody said that they seen something on Facebook, and then the person that they were telling it to, well, that person was telling them, like, hey, like, no, I'm watching it right here on TV. I'm watching it live. And they argued with them, which causes the conflict. It's the ice cream, okay, and the mirror, the shattered vision. Okay. So the person ended up, like, they told the other person, because they were telling them, like, it's on live right now. I'm watching it. And the person argued with it, and then told them to go fuck yourself. Excuse my French. Really? If that person's watching, really? That's extremely disrespectful. I don't care whether that person's right or wrong. You don't have the right to tell that person to go fuck themselves because you have a difference of opinion, or because you're not seeing what they're seeing, because it's a matter of taking the time to see what they're seeing. Because maybe what you don't see, somebody else is seeing it. And maybe they're trying to help you to see. but you're blinded by your own ignorance and stupidity. Because we look to this, and I don't know how many times I've said that there's a lot of propaganda going on right now. There's truth going on out there, but it should be about using your discernment. And if you're not looking into stuff, then why are we putting it out there? I've been guilty of it myself. But when I put stuff out there, I feel it, because it's like, okay, I'm understanding, because there is an article. Okay, Canada military using propaganda against the people.
According to Ottawa Citizen, last year, the branch launched a controversial plan that would have allowed military public affairs officers to use propaganda to change attitudes and behaviors of Canadians, as well as to collect and analyze information from public social media accounts.
Okay, and okay, the Guardian. They said that doesn't want to work with me. It's like, diz que tudo isso é oh! Visst ska de vara grej. Ska du ta dig? Ska du ta dig? Ska du ta mig? Ska det är att läsa dem. Skulle jag ta dig? Ja, kan jag ska man lägga dessa collection. Tycker de. Ska du äta dig? Jag skulle börja dig kai. Oh, here it is. Get on. I was going to say, well, the Matrix is kind of messing with me right now, and that's okay. Because, okay, here it is. There's the article. Okay. So, really, if you want to hear what you're saying, okay, and like really want to know what you're putting out there, make a video of what you want to say, what you want to put out there for people, and then go back and watch yourself, because it should all, like, if it's true and real, it'll all come naturally. That's why when I'm reading some stuff to everyone, or I'm reading stuff for myself, if I'm reading along and then like everything seems to make sense, and then all of a sudden there's something in there that, what? It leaves you in a confused state, then something was manipulated. Okay, because there are people who go in and they put in fake websites. Okay, fake news. They said that, and a lot of people have said about this. Like, I'm seeing, like, okay, people of natural paths, okay, energy healers, crystal workers, energy workers, psychic tarot card readers, psychics, mediums, what have you. We are told that we have to say one thing or another. Like, we're not doctors, we're not this, we're not that. Okay. But a lot of people go to school to learn this. Okay. But because it's not your mainstream doctors that are cutting people open or giving a prescription to somebody, they're using natural medicine. Well, you're not doctor. Yes, you are. Because you're working with natural medicines. So in my opinion, you are just as much a doctor or a specialist of what you do as somebody else that says, oh, well, I went to university and I did this and I did this. I know how to communicate with people. I know how to talk with people. Sometimes I may, like I said, I may come off as a bitch, or I may come off as thinking I know it all, which I know I don't. And I tell people that. But I go by and I use my experiences, because if my experiences can help others from having to go through that themselves and seeing it before it actually happens, then I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Like I went and I did. I got my I got my business cards. Okay. That side there, that's actually my stuff that I have on my table. And then the back, okay? I heard somebody say the other night, thank you. So I got those because I know that's my path, and that's a start to my path. I know sometimes, like, I still have to learn to hear what I say, but that's where we use self-reflect, the reflection. It's the man in the mirror, and we mirror each other. And sometimes you don't understand that. Like I went and I seen someone today and I was explaining things to them. And when I get explaining things, it's actually very helpful, because it is the law of attraction. It's the manifestations. What you put out is what you get back. And a lot of people say about making money. The more, and it's true. I read it, I watched another person, and it's the fact that I want. Well, when you want and want and want and want, how fast do you get it? Sometimes not very fast, and it never comes. It's because when we want something, we're more pushing it away for the time being until we stop wanting that. And then we are able to, like, attain it. It's like I've told, like, kids growing up, I want. Well, okay, want in one hand and poop in the other, and see which one gets filled first. I have strange sayings. It's like, well, I thought this or I thought that. Well, thought he farted, but he really pooped himself, right? And our thoughts have gone like, I thought. So it's the propaganda, and we're using propaganda in ways against ourselves and each other. And we don't know that we're using propaganda, because it's all about creating fear, aggression, anger, hostility, having each other fight with one another. And a lot of people are saying that, but they're not actually hearing what they're saying, because when you hear what you're saying, then we stop doing it. We step off of that roller coaster and we put that slice there to say, hey, no, I'm getting off. Like, I'm not going to continue to do that anymore. It's the same as I'm going to say, and I don't care. Like, they can shut me, whatever. Because a big thing is about getting a needle. I've read things of people saying, like, I got the needle, and like, if you want to be around me or my kids or what have you, you need to get the needle. Well, if I need to get a needle to be with them and I don't want to, well, I guess I'm not going to be around your kids. But I think that's really ridiculous, because isn't the needle supposed to be protecting you yourself, whether somebody else has it or not? That's the same as the mask. It's like, are you not like really taking the time? And a lot of people are saying that, well, now this mask stuff is becoming more mandatory and what have you. I heard somebody today told me about Thea and Delta and all that. Do you not realize that that is one of the variants that they kept saying? Well, it's a state of mind. Okay? You get in a state of mind when you meditate. It's this information is out there. And I know, like, I'm seeing more and more on my Facebook with my friends, with friends on Facebook and what have you. And some of them, they're actually taking the time and they're learning the natural remedies because they're seeing and they're posting this stuff. So they're actually hearing and they're understanding a lot of stuff. So they're trying to change it. Well, those people, they're going to be the ones that are going to be making the natural medicines for you. Okay, like people are saying, like the whole the society is going to collapse. The systems that we know right now, they are collapsing, yes, but everything happens for a reason. But because one system's collapsing, there's something. Everybody, the people that are here to help are preparing to have those systems in place, and we have systems right now that it's trying to knock everybody off and distract everybody from seeing. Okay. And then when they do see, it's like something else is put in there to distract you. Like, we're here to observe. And I know sometimes, like myself, I get involved in it. And then it's like, wait a minute. And I'll do that to clear the fog, the distraction, so that you can see through it and diskinam. Yep, I know. When that happens, if you're watching this and it's not you throwing attacks at me and it's not you doing this, okay, it's meant for the ones that are trying to stop the information from coming forward. It's when I do that, I'm telling the matrix, like, hey, I'm right here. I'm not disguised. I'm not using a filter. I sense this stuff, and we all do it. We just don't know that we're aware of it. We feel like it's always us, like it's our energy, but it's actually in certain different cases, you're feeling something from somebody else. It's what they're feeling, or you're feeling a reflection of yourself because you're seeing something else in that person. And I've heard people say about it, and then they turn around, and then they disbelieve what they say. Sometimes it's because it can be very hard to comprehend. Trust me, I know, because I went through it, and sometimes I still go through it, and it's like you get that doubt in there, and it's like, oh, this can't be real. This can't be real. But it is. Okay? Like, I knew that the man standing in the farmer's market was manipulating communication energy. They do it. The movies, the Marvels and stuff like that, of what they show, these are actual abilities that people have. But these here, there's so much heavy metals going into them, like I've described it before. Superman. Kryptonite. Kryptonite was actually a heavy metal. So when you start seeing what you're like, actually seeing and hearing what you're saying, then that's when you become more able to wake up and continue to stay awake. It can be a struggle, yes, but when you keep it's like keep reminding yourself. Journaling helps sometimes. Well, not sometimes. Journaling helps, and I've told someone, like, they say something and then they don't want to journal, then they don't want to write it down so that they remember. Okay, so that they don't have to learn that lesson again. Like, they had a vision beginning of the week, or just the end of last week, and they didn't believe it. Like, it's like, like when I came where I'm at and I started doing in here the painting and stuff like that, I started having more and more visions of seeing. Okay, and seeing what was outside, what was coming, what's here, and we're creating it. I was seeing it, and it's like showing that it's like other people seeing that one vision that you're having. And I had another person come here, and they were looking out my window after, like, I had like showed them of caring. And right now things are kind of like separated, but we separate for reasons. Okay. And this person looked out, and then all of a sudden they seen the light, and they seen the same vision that I seen. And then the other person seen the same vision that I seen. But when I told them that, you didn't reflect that at me. You think I didn't? Maybe I did. One day I got into it with somebody, and it became on a physical level. There was no physical punching, but there was grabbing a hold and shoving. And I had somebody else in the background. Come on, Tara, let's get out of here. And it's like, no, I was standing up for myself. And not only for myself, but other people like myself. And what I ended up doing was I had a vision. And at the same time I had that vision, it was like I threw it to them. And then that person let go of me. They may not know that that's what happened, but that's what happened, because at that, like, before that happened, before I died, I was having visions. Like, it was like I was looking through portals, like looking on different timelines and what have you. And in that timeline that I was seeing myself in a coma in a hospital bed. And my family was around me. Okay. So when I seen that, it was like, okay, so it was stopping it from happening. Seeing it and saying, okay, something's going to change. And before it went down with this person, I was sitting outside and I was having this feeling that, okay, something's different here. It's like I switched the timeline. And then I realized that, okay, that's what happened. The other day, I was going somewheres, and the place was closed for the winter season or what have you. So I ended up going somewhere else. And I thought, like, okay, I'm going to go to this park. Okay, because I seen the pictures and what have you. And along the way, I was getting these signs to say, hey, turn back. This is not where you want to go. This is not what you're looking for. So when I got there, it was like, okay, now I get it. I should have followed the signs, because the signs was telling me. So I was overriding the signs that were telling me that this is not where you want to be. So I was getting a really strange feeling going, and when I got there, it was like I'm looking around, and it was like it was a ball field, and it was just open. You had to go like way off the beaten path, and I wasn't going by myself. It wasn't what I was looking for. So I turned around, and I was coming back to go home, and another place I was looking for. Well, I ended up realizing that, okay, this is on my way. So I stopped, and my guides and angels and what have you were telling me, like, it was like, don't go, like, don't walk there. But as I said, I wasn't listening. I wanted to go and have a look and take some pictures. So I took pictures along the way, and that was fine. But when I got through, like, it was an open gate, and I seen people coming, a few people coming with their dog, but that may be part of the illusion. So I was going in, and as I went in, I had a weird feeling. And I started walking, and then I could hear what sounded like shuffling in wooded area, and like just different things falling and what have you, like somebody, I could feel people around. And it was more of a closing in. I was walking, and I was getting a little further, and then all of a sudden I just stopped. And I just stood there for a minute, and I like really connected with what was going on. And it was there was an energy there that did not want me to go in there. So I turned around, and I went back to my car. And then that feeling started going. I had that feeling I had that feeling, many other times, but it's like your body will tell you. And that's where we don't want to listen to our bodies. I get, like, on a telepathic level, like I communicate through the spirits and what have you, the ancestors and family and angels and guides and what have you. And some people don't believe that, and that's okay. You don't believe it more so because you haven't experienced it, or maybe you have experienced it, you don't understand it, so you want to push it away because it doesn't make sense. And that's okay too, because that's part of learning, because that's what I, like, when it was happening with me, that's what I wanted to do. But when you go through it, like especially when you're going through it at a fast rate and it becomes intense, some people it just happens, and other people it happens kind of on a more gradual. Sometimes it comes fast and it slows down and it goes fast again. When I was going through it, like, as you let go of the shadows and the stuff that doesn't resonate with your body, and you're letting go of your own traumas, your own angers, your own frustrations, your own judgments, not only to others but to yourself, because people may say that I'm not judging, but in a lot of ways we are constantly judging ourselves in one way or another. Sometimes it's if we look in a mirror, we think, oh, I'm too heavy, or I don't have a big chest, or my hair's not right, or my eyes, or my face, or just parts of us, or things that we don't like about our environment, or anything like that. It becomes a criticism, not only to ourselves, but then we start criticizing other people for the same things that they do. I know somebody that used to say about somebody who, like, they'd have sponge baths every day, and it was more of that person had a fear of water, so they had a fear of, like, being in a tub or in a shower or what have you, sometimes by themselves, like being there by himself. Okay, so this person was criticizing this other person, and one day it was like You know, what right do you have to say about somebody else's hygiene when yours ain't the greatest yourself right now? So it's kind of a self, it's a reflection. So when you just remember, when you say something about someone else and you criticize somebody else, you may end up like that. So it's like, we don't want to believe that that happens, but it does. And a lot of the time it's because we're criticizing ourselves, but we're reflecting it to somebody else by what we see. And every time you judge someone, it's like, you might want to look at yourself. And I'm dealing with somebody that, like, they say about how other people are, and they say, well, that's my opinion, and no, they can't hear me. It's like, you know what? Maybe they can't, but I can. And I don't want to hear it. And maybe there's some opinions that you might just want to keep to yourself because you're freaking rude and ignorant. You say that you don't care about what others say about you, but guess what? In all actuality, the thing is, if you didn't care about what others said about you, then you wouldn't be so ignorant to judge how somebody else looks. Some people may not believe that or take that as being true. It's like, you say Yeshua, some call Jesus. Have we really got the moral of what he was trying to explain to us? Or did we just get bits and pieces and run with it because somebody wrote it somewhere? Because there's so many different versions. And when you start, it's like, we are all an aspect of God, hence made in the image of God. And it says it everywhere. We're made in the image of God. Okay. God is energy. God is the mystical. God is said to be everything. Well, we are all the children of creation, children of energy, and no one child is over the other. And that's what that's what was being told. Only everybody has taken it out of context, except for when you actually sit and you see it and you actually hear it and understand, instead of thinking that, well, one person has the answer. No, you actually have the answer. Because when they say we are one, because it all comes from within. I may know something you don't, or you may know something that I don't. So it's about talking with each other. It's brainstorming to get to the root, to get to the actual message that has been construed. And it's been separated, divided, and turned and manipulated into something that works for individuals. I do hear myself. And if I don't hear myself, or I feel like I haven't heard myself, I go back and I watch my video. The ones that I haven't so much watched was the ones that were 3 hours long or 5 hours long. And then sometimes I start watching them. But I don't have to explain myself. I choose to. Because sometimes it's easier to explain what you do yourself, and it gets it out there for maybe somebody who is feeling the same way or experiencing the same thing, can understand more so of what they're going through if they see or speak with somebody who's already experienced it. And then they know, like, I'm not crazy. I said, like, they use a lot of play on words in medical terms. Psychosis, it's actually psychic SOS. It's people who are like people waking up, and you're actually hearing. You're hearing spirits on a different plane. And that's why sometimes people say, I feel like somebody's around me, but I don't see them. There's a guy on YouTube and that are doing on TikTok. You see him a lot. It's Bashar. It's a channeling. The channeling is real, and we are all doing it. As I had said before, we're all doing it. That's how we know certain things that we wouldn't think that we didn't know that we knew, because we're channeling not only our ancestors, but we're channeling versions of ourselves, because we are our ancestors. Because we're connected. It's like the roots of the plants. We're connected. We may not understand that, but the main connection is through the heart. I didn't go learn this. And people may say, oh, you're just speaking gibberish. You're just making noises. What do you think language is? It's a noise. It's a frequency. It's a vibration, because everything comes with a vibration. Like I said before, okay? The cries of the banshee. The cries of the banshee comes out as like a horrifying screeching sound, because it goes after the shadow, the darkness, because it's releasing its pain on it. And when, okay, like we get into, some of us, we get into relationships. I know, because like I was like up, and then I had my car accident, and then it was like I became weak. But it was only a perception that I thought, because I wasn't actually weak, because all along I could have healed myself, but I didn't know, because I was listening to a system that wants to keep you sick and dumbed down. There are good ones out there that don't want to do that, and they don't know what's happening. And then when they do realize what's happening, then they step away. They want no part of it anymore. And it's more of natural medicines, being open to stuff, the placebo effect, the quantum physics, the meditation and frequencies do actually work and help. And sometimes some of us just need a little bit more of being able to find somebody that you can sit and actually talk to, that won't keep saying, oh, poor little you. I'm full. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. It's like, hey, let's do the inner work. Let's dig deep. Let's find that seed that got planted to have you feeling that way. Move stagnant energy that has been built up in your body from being a disease. And I was watching a thing, and a lot of our sicknesses comes from worms and parasites. And do I believe it? Yes, because I'm taking diatomaceous earth. And as I've been taking diatomaceous earth, I also I'm starting to mix activated charcoal in it, and I use lemon water. And this may sound gross, but I've been having bowel movements a lot better. Plus, you kind of see certain things coming out in your stool. Like we say about our kids having worms. The worms are coming from certain foods, pesticides, and all that. I've seen articles and videos and stuff, and I even had somebody say the older the copper, the better it is. Putting it around our gardens because it creates an electrical field and then the gardens grow better. But they don't tell you stuff like that. Because they don't want you knowing. And then when people like myself come out and say certain things or what have you, oh, well, that's fake, that's not real, what have you. People saying about people passing from getting these. Yeah. And some of us are closer to it than others. And it's hard to comprehend and fathom sometimes. And people want to put, oh, you're full of shit. You just reading this, you just reading that. No. I put a thing up, the series Utopia. Okay, people are actually, it's happening. Okay, and it said on there that they were suppressing 3 generations of being able to conceive children. 3 generations, okay? And in Utopia, in the show Utopia, it's about giving a needle. And I've said it before. The Sexual Sterilization Act. Read it. It's been there since 1928, and they were actually working on it prior to that. That's when the bill got put through. March 26th. And think about when it was that they put the thing through to allow people with mental health issues to say whether or not they wanted to live or die. March 26th. I believe it was it was 2021, I believe. Okay, I just got 2022. It was March 26th. Coincidences? No such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities. And do you know that birth certificates never came into effect until 1900? And that was all about the consensus? Why is it illegal not to fill out a consensus? It's because they want to keep track of you. They want to know your family. They say, but see, some of you will look at me like, lady, you're really out to lunch? When did birth certificates come into effect? The first standard certificates for the registration of live births were developed in 1900 by the Bureau of the Census. Dice Katoe. But see, we don't want to believe that stuff. Because it's like, no, that's not why. But yeah, that's why. When did all the stuff that people are saying started coming about? It started coming about in the beginning of the 19th century, the beginning of the 1900s. Okay? Some people may not agree. But that's only because you're not actually wanting to see it. We live in denial in aspects. We can change how we live. We can change what we experience and what we do. And I heard something today that it was on the news about we have Remembrance Day coming up. Okay? And it was said that in this in something, a big part of the remembrance, that they're not allowed to have prayer. Really? Why? Is prayer not a part of all religion? Is prayer not a part of what we're fighting for? Really? Don't you think things are getting a little ridiculous and controlling? I'm here to say, when you're talking and you're saying that you want this and you're talking aloud and what have you, what you're doing in a lot of aspects is you're praying. You pray for something. The prayer aspect, whether it be in one form or another, everything's being taken out that has a spiritual, it's like the spiritual aspect of everything is being taken and things are becoming a law. Have sensible, reasonable laws, not frivolous laws to say, you're going to walk this way, you're going to talk this way, or you can't be a part of society. Well, wait a minute. I've already been shunned because of my own beliefs. So am I really part of a society anyways? It's like you go and you look and they have doors. Oh, you got to walk in this door. You can't walk in that door. You got to walk in this door. And nobody there? What happened to people being able to walk? What happened to pleasantries? If somebody's coming in a door and somebody's going, no, somebody will hold the door for each other. Or they had these friggin' things on the floor. Oh, you got to walk in this, you got to walk down this aisle. You can't walk back that aisle. You got to go down another aisle and walk around. What? What? Does it make sense? And if it makes sense to you, I guess that's your belief. But we can't say and expect other people to do it. It's the same as this. If you don't want somebody, your kid or something like that, because the person didn't get the needle, what right do you have to ask somebody if they got the freaking needle? Their medical business is their medical business. They're supposed to be protecting you. If you got it, well, then I guess you're protected. What are you worried about the other person for? You're not going to get it. And it's not about whether I'm nice or not nice. I can't have you believe one way or another, because your beliefs are your beliefs. But doing that, you're going to have like it's like you're living in a little bubble box. And you're going to lose a lot of good people that way. If you tell me that I can't be around someone because I didn't get a poke in my arm, and you're supposed to be my friend or my family member, then I guess you were never my friend or my family member to begin with, because it shouldn't matter. People have been polite about things. I'm not telling somebody to go after themselves. It's common sense. It's looking at things for what it really is, and what we're doing to each other, and we're throwing like, I don't want you in my life because of this or that. But I was your best friend. Or I was your sister, or I was your mother, or I was your father, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your kid. It's like, shake your head. What's your problem? You're being manipulated by a system. It's to keep everyone fighting and bickering with one another over their beliefs. Why can't everybody have their own? Why can't people have their own beliefs without people trying to say, oh, well, you don't believe this way, I don't want you in my life. Or you don't believe this way, I'm not going to do this for you. Then don't do it. Go live in your little box or bubble, because you're limiting yourself. And that's the part of, do you hear yourself when you say about this stuff? Do you actually hear yourself? Do you know what you're telling people? Do you know what you're freaking talking about? Do you understand what is being done? It's spiritual, psychological, cyber warfare. And they're using each of us against one another. I can't make you wake up. But I told someone that I hold myself back. And the reason why I hold myself back is because it's the aspect of, well, where I'm going, I want to take people with me. We all are on our own journeys, and we all wake up when we're meant to. But in actuality, we're here to help one another. And some people just say it's every man for themselves, or like, yes, you need to be strong yourself so that you're able to help other people. But once you're strong yourself, it's not about the material things. And that's what we're supposed to be learning. It's about the connection with one another, the love, the healing, the understanding, the compassion. What you want for yourself is what you should want for everyone. But sometimes we just don't get that. Like, really? I know I've always, what I wanted for me, I always wanted everyone else to have it. And sometimes I would get jealous because I seen somebody else with something. But it wasn't so much the material things. It was what I seen that they had with family. And that's what it's about. It's like, so what? If you believe one way or you have a difference of opinion, you don't push family away. In times like this, we're supposed to be drawing each other closer. Not saying F you or go F yourself. Just get the thing, just gotta say it. Nikatay, there's set to do it every day. Just gotta go and get so that. You hear the saying, fake it till you make it. Why fake it? Why not just do it and make it? See your highest potential. Experience life the way you want to, not the way someone else wants to. If you want to help that person get there, don't let them get there on your back. Every time they try to get on your back, kick them back off and say, hey, no, you get off and walk. We'll walk this together. But I'm not going to do your work for you. So it's every time we say something, it's like, ask yourself, do you hear yourself? Do you hear what you're saying? Do you see what you're putting out there? And ask yourself, how would you feel if the roles were reversed? This is where it comes in the heart. This is what he was telling you. And this is that's what's going to bring peace, because you find peace within yourself. And when you find peace within yourself, you emanate it. And there's going to be people out there that until they understand it and they experience it themselves and they start finding their own inner peace, it's going to feel like they want to push you away. Give them space to go back. See how things are. Some people give up on others. Sometimes when that person's the way they are, it's because they gave up on themselves. So when you show love and compassion and understanding, and that you're not giving up on them, that you see their higher potential, then that's when we start growing. Because we start feeling like somebody does care. The other day I was driving past somewhere, and all of a sudden I got an overwhelming feeling. I started to cry. And it made me think of this person, one person. So I messaged them. And I told them what happened. And that the overwhelming feeling gave me a sense of them. But I didn't receive a message back. And that's okay, because I don't think I was really expecting one. Because sometimes there's things that happen that cause a bit of friction or distance. But it doesn't mean that you stop caring about the person, that you don't stop connecting with their feelings. Because it's the aspect of I am you, you're me. And it was like that person was experiencing that. And that's why I was experiencing it. And we all do it. We just don't realize it sometimes, and we dismiss it. And then we throw shade on others who have the courage to come out and share their experiences. I had somebody that I was talking with and sharing, what have you, and they brought out this narcissistic laugh. And that's when you just want to punch them right in the face, but you can't. Because violence doesn't solve nothing. And then it's sitting back and sorting through and figuring like, okay, when they laugh like that, it's more of self-ignorance. Because they don't want to face their own truths. They want to make themselves out to be the victim when you have a difference of opinion. And they're supposed to be the only ones to be heard. It's like, really? Do you hear yourself? You're blaming me? You're telling me that I'm doing all the talking when I just sat here for 5, 10, 15 minutes listening to you talk, and because I start saying my opinion or how I feel, and then it's like, oh, you're just constantly talking, you don't let me talk. You just talk for 10, 15 minutes, really? And I don't let you talk? Do you hear yourself? Would you like me to record you? But oh wait, I did do that to this person at one point. And then I showed the video. And even after I showed the video, it was like, well, I didn't say that. It's like, really? You're right here on video, but you did not say that. I had an experience with that. Didn't remember saying it. Like, I knew I said some stuff, but I didn't remember saying a certain thing. And I was actually seeing a different version at the same time when I said something. But the video was never shown to me. So I could actually see. It's like you want, people want apologies, but sometimes people don't even know what they're apologizing for. And that's the part of, you say, like, we go in and you walk in front of somebody in a store and what have you. Or like you're in a bathroom or something like that. And you kind of walk in each other's path. Oh, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? It's like we're constantly saying we're sorry. And we don't even know what we're sorry for. So then it becomes something that it becomes so repetitive that when we do actually need to be sorry, we don't give two shits. We just blow it off. So for the small things, oh, I'm sorry, I walked in front of you. Oh, I'm sorry, I tripped you and pushed you to the ground. But you don't say sorry for that. You just trip them and push them to the ground. But if you walk in front of somebody, you apologize. You're sorry. Really? That's a part of us needing to hear ourselves. Because it becomes a repetitive word, and it's no longer, it's like you can say sorry until you're blue in the face, but it's actions. It's, did you learn from what you did? And I'm not talking about walking in front of somebody. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry I did that. Why keep saying you're sorry? Why not change the behavior that caused you to want to say you were sorry to begin with? We keep going, we keep going down the same paths because we're not learning from the experience before that. And I know that these are why I'm experiencing certain things. It's because I failed, I didn't get the lesson the first time. So I was put in it again. Only different characters or what have you, or different circumstances or what have you. It's like this person that told this other person, go F yourself. Really? When are you going to learn to stop telling that person to go F themselves because they have a difference of opinion, or they're trying to show you something that you're not seeing? You're extremely disrespectful. So if you're being disrespectful, why do you think somebody else should respect you and what you have to say when you're not even having the ascertainment of even contemplating on that they may have something that may actually be enlightening or helpful? I still go through it myself because I'm still learning. I'm still on my lessons. But the first thing and the first step is to realizing it and admitting it to yourself instead of saying, oh, well, I don't do that. Well, yeah, we do. And I'm sick of hearing that word. Oh, you think you're so righteous, or you people think you're so righteous, or what have you. It's about righteous is right choices. It's just another, they use it in a text that tries to throw shame on somebody and say, oh, you think you're better than me. No, It's not about thinking you're better than somebody else. It's about learning to make the different choices of something that is going to cause harm to somebody or is going to hurt somebody, and making the right choice that doesn't, or doesn't hurt you. I had somebody ask me today, like, have you been to church lately? No. And it's not because I don't believe in God, source, creator, mother, father, God, what have you. Because I find it here. I find it from going within myself and seeing the true message. To building the temple. You are the temple. Build your temple. Rebuild it. Rebirth. That's what it is. It's rebirthing yourself. Growing from within. Finding your seed. I'm going to leave it there. And this wasn't a lecture or anything like that. And if people want to comment and be rude, well, maybe that's your own ignorance of what you don't like about yourself. Because it's hard for you to look at yourself. It's hard for you to go within and see that you're not perfect in those aspects. Because we're all learning. So I'm going to read my last card. Iskara. Iskara. One glasses. I believe somebody's giving us a message. Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine. Or leave a kiss, but in the cup, and I'll not look for wine. It's about that's what I get from that message. It was a message from divine. So if you're in Remembrance Day and you're sinners, don't suppress your prayers. The ones that tell you that you can't pray, to them. They said that I should have done. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing, ready to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, not who somebody says you are or who they want you to be. Be authentic. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Know that you are powerful, you are stronger, sometimes even more than you can even comprehend. You can do this. Because, as I say, if I can do it, you can. It's not that it's not always an easy path, but it's a path how we make it. I love you all. Have a great evening.